Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. From the preseason NFL to college kicking off, Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Think you know your stuff? Get on our winner takes all $300,000 NFL pool for the upcoming season. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, and get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, big ups to the fan, man. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to you as we kicking off the NFL season tonight. Baltimore, I think it's Baltimore and Kansas City playing, man. As a matter of fact, they're about to kick off in a little bit. They had a little rain going on, but it look like they're going to play. That's an AFC contest. It really has no impact on us, man. But listen, man, I know I'm going up against NFL action, but them damn teams ain't got nothing to do with the black and gold. We black and gold to the bone, Gristle, baby. So what the hell we worried about the Chiefs and the Ravens, man? Saints will be upcoming in on Sunday. That's when the game counts in my mind. But anyway, shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all being here. Let me give y'all another round of applause, man. Yes, y'all could be anywhere in the world, but you guys are here, and that's big, man. Much love to you. Appreciate you. Big ups to everybody. Young City, I see you, brother Tori. Shout out to brother Tori. Chantel, what's popping? Good to see Chantel. The Queen's out here. Black Major, how you doing, sir? Argentine Dogos, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the membership as well. All right, good to see all y'all. Bullet Family Travel Vlog, big ups to you as well. All right, Chantel says, Q, you got to watch Jameis Sunday. He playing Dallas. I'm hoping to get. I think Deshaun Watson's supposed to be starting, but you know that guy's made of paper mache. So if something happens, he'll get in there. You know. So thank you, Chantel. Yes, yeah. Rich homie Quan, man, has had an overdose or something. Fam, man, we have to do an on-Q with Big Q about some of this stuff, because I be seeing a lot of this stuff with these young rappers. All this stuff going on, and it's a poison culture. It's a poison culture, man, and it's a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of stuff, and people that came out of the culture wrote books, gave their testimonies about what that life is like, and they give up so much to get it spiritually that almost the side effect of a lot of the stuff that they have to do to kind of compensate for the fact of going through it and certain bargains, you know, and then it's just very hard. And, you know, we got to talk to our young people, man. to turn them away because too many of our young people walking that path for stuff that's short term. That shit don't last, man. So I mean, yeah, we got to talk to our young people, man, about it because not too much of us are talking about it, man. We got to talk to the young people. We got to stem that tide. All right, shout out to the rest of y'all. OG Jerry, big ups to my brother OG Jerry in the building. St. Doug, how you doing, sir? Much love, student. All right, big ups to you. How you doing, Will? Appreciate William Musgrove in his thing, man. Appreciate you, man. All right, brother. So yeah, he said, okay, who that? Thank you, student. Appreciate you, man. All right, fam. So let's just get right into it, man. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I just wanted to talk at y'all, man, right quick about some of all of the fantastic stuff that's going on with the black and gold. We'll start with the Saints Thursday injury report. We'll have some presser recaps as well. Go over some of the things we heard what Clint Kubiak said and Trevor Penning. Those are two pressers I want to kind of listen to. We'll go over a few news notes and items and some stories that are in this episode of the Coma. So let's get it popping, man, as we hit this one right here, the Thursday injury report, week 9. Excuse me, I'm skipping week 9. I'm ready to get the season on. Y'all know it. Week 1, 9 Saints players were listed on Thursday's injury report. For week 1's game against the Carolina Panthers. For y'all that probably, if you didn't see the preview stream that was yesterday, y'all guys feel free to check that out. Brother Dave and Shad showed up for the Panther Nation and Sports Coma Saints Panthers preview, and they were dropping some good game in there. So I hope a lot of the family members had, kind of heard what they were saying. They were giving some good game, man. All right. Pete Werner dealing with a shoulder issue. He fully practiced both Wednesday and Thursday. That's a good sign. While Willie Gay has a back issue, he's limited. So we'll see how that works. Marshawn Lattimore fully practiced today. A lot of people anticipating him to be ready for week 1. And this is what the reports from the street was saying, that that Marshawn was going to be ready for week 1 with no restrictions. As you can see, he's on par for that. Nick Saldiveri was limited with the calf issue. Jalen Ford has a hamstring issue, is DNP'd again. And like I told y'all, there will be a move made with Jalen Ford and guys like DeMarco Jackson. You see Colin Saunders was DNP'd, and usually there's one more day do they get ramped up. We see Dalen Hawker, ankle, DeMarco Jackson, calf. So was Colin Sanders, both DNP'd. A.T. Perry with a hand, he was DNP'd. So we'll see Friday what the designation is. And if it's a DNP designation, that means they will be probably deactivated for the game against the Carolina Panthers. We knew that it was a long shot for Bink Saunders to be ready for the matchup against the Carolina Panthers. That's why Ridgeway was traded for. That's why they have other personnel there to kind of absorb the loss of Colin Sanders. So you'll see Brian Brissy step in the role, and maybe he'll get some work right there. And then, of course, you'll see Christian Boyd and Ridgeway, the third, who we traded for, the big, massive interior defensive tackle, kind of help out there. And once Bink comes back, the Saints in the middle are going to be solid, man. You ain't going to be able to run on those guys for real, man. And then, of course, DeMarco Jackson. We knew that both these linebackers, Jalen Ford and DeMarco Jackson, more than likely probably going to end up being deactivated, and a slot will be made for another healthy guy to get there. We'll see how that all operates for the game. You know how the Saints do. And then, of course, A.T. Perry dealing with a hand issue. We're going to monitor that as well to see what goes on with A.T. Perry, that whole situation. So this is a little touch on it right here, fam, just to kind of go over here. And then, of course, Carolina's guys right here. As you see, Yusa Nashman, hope I'm saying that right, he got a tibia issue. He was limited. Miles Sanders has a finger. He fully practiced. Ian Thomas, the tight end, was DNP'd as well. People anticipating he won't play. Tommy Trumbull had a back and hamstring issue. He was DNP'd. Got to keep an eye on him. And cornerback Troy Hill had a heel issue. He was limited as well. So the Carolinas dealing with some slight issues there as well. Miles Sanders was the complement back to Chupa Hubbard, who we should see a lot of in the running attack. So we expect the Carolina Panthers to come out and run Chupa at the Saints defense a lot. They're going to mix in Miles Sanders there to give him, a kind of a thunder and lightning type of thing, to try to mix in to kind of help balance their attack. And the first person to get their, that offense going, probably going to end up winning the game. But I got the Saints winning by between 3 to 7 points. I don't see Carolina beating us unless we're not on our game in the game. And the thing is, like, I hear a lot of the people are saying, yo, Q, if we don't win game one, man, we could be looking at something fierce. And the thing about it is, you don't win a Super Bowl in week number one. We know this, but the most winnable of all the first 4 or 5 contests is the Carolina game, depending on the talent, you really don't know because, like I said, the week one matchup it's going to be difficult because you're not really working with anything to gauge these guys off. Now you can go and look at old tape of what Canellis did last year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and see if you can get some ideas of some of the stuff that he want to roll that way. You can do that to a degree to give you an idea, but what's going to be happening live time is a lot of adjusting. The defense will have to adjust, stop the run, put pressure on Bryce and get him on the ground, frustrate him. And then on the offensive side, the Saints have to run the ball and they have to put points on the board. None of this field goal stuff. When you get down in the red zone, we got to get 7 points and get out of there. So we'll see how that goes. Just a little slight breakdown on that, but that's the injury report for Thursday. We'll be looking out tomorrow to see what the Friday injury report was looking like. And then speaking of receivers, man, we talked about A.T. Perry. This is another one that came across my feed. Shout out to Saints Wire and John Sigler. He said the Lions, and he covered some information because I watched where this came from, and he wrote a really good article on it. That the Lions wide receiver Tim Patrick says the Saints tried to trade for him before the Broncos cut him, which is very interesting because you would think that all of the good stuff that we gave Sean Payton in terms of when he wanted our kicker, what we do, gave him up for a 7-round draft pick. But that's real weird because you're trading with Sean Payton, so Payton can get it whatever he wants here. You can get rid of another a top 5, top 10 kicker for basically half-eaten sandwiches, and then turn around. You can't get nothing from Sean Payton. Dig this article, man. This is why I'm covering this. It was real interesting. The final week of the preseason is busy time, full trade talks and tough decisions ahead of the roster cuts. But some deals are discussed without ever coming to fruition. That was the case for Tim Patrick. The Detroit Lions' newest wide receiver was let go by the Broncos, but he nearly became a member of the Saints. Sean Payton has worked often with his former team over the last year, so this isn't too surprising. Patrick told Detroit Free Press, Dave Burkett, that the Broncos were negotiating a trade with the Saints before the roster cuts, but couldn't agree to terms. So they decided to release Patrick and let him choose his team. We can't get nothing from Coach Payton. Tim Patrick would have been a nice addition to the Saints wide receiver room, man. He'd have been a really nice addition. He would have been, in my opinion, he'd have been a better addition than Cedric Wilson Jr. No disrespect to Cedric Wilson Jr., but this would have been a type of wide receiver with a high upside and very talented wide receiver that could kind of helped along with what we had. He would have been a nice addition. He said would have been a good get. Patrick did miss the 22 and 23 seasons with injuries, but he remained a popular player in the locker room. His resume speaks for itself. He would have been one of the best, best of the accomplished receivers in New Orleans. His 143 receptions for over 2,000 yards and 101 first down conversions are more than every wideout on the roster after Chris Olave. What could a trade have looked like? Maybe the Saints approached Denver with a pick swap in mind. The same day Patrick was released, they cut a deal with the Washington Commanders to acquire defensive tackle John Ridgeway in exchanging a 6th-round pick for a 7th-rounder in 2025. Something is better than nothing, but in this case, the decision makers in Denver decided goodwill with Patrick and his family was worth more than a draft pick or other compensation. As for the Saints, right now they have a roster: Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Cedric Wilson, A.T. Perry, Bud Means, and Mason Tipton, with Equimia St. Brown and Kevin Austin Jr. on the practice squad. They tried out a couple of free agents, but didn't sign any of them, so they clearly do want help at receiver. We'll just have to wait and see. So that was a bit of interesting. That would have kind of changed things, wouldn't it, fam? If Tim Patrick would have came aboard. I mean, this is very interesting. Saints, we couldn't get the deal to get him. That would have really been a nice get for the Saints to get Tim Patrick. But like I said, I like Cedric Wilson Jr., no disrespect, but Tim Patrick, man, to me, that's an upgrade, man, in my opinion. But hey, man, we didn't get him, right? Very interesting, though. All right, let's keep it pushing, man, and move on into this contract right here. As we talk about Saints, yesterday kind of did a restructuring here. For what purposes? Could this possibly be something that you're trying to open up money for? And we'll see. Shout out to Bob Rose and the Saints News Network. Kyle T. It's not the contract the family was waiting for. The Saints did create some cap room by restructuring a key player. We know that the Saints was dealing with, they got down to like less than $2 million. They had to make some moves just in case they needed to make some moves. So the Saints announced their team that they restructured the contract of Juwan Johnson. This isn't the news that people were waiting for, hoping that they reached a new deal with Alvin Kamara. However, the move does save the team millions in salary cap space. And like I talked about this before, and people were saying, "Hey, Q, which one of the family members?" And let me just address it right quick. Let me get my over the cap on. All right, but yeah, here's the over the cap right now, family. Right now, they got the Saints. Like I showed y'all the other night, it was 1.4 or whatever it was. I forget. It's now just under 4.8 mil. The Saints have after the restructuring of Juwan Johnson. Now, the thing is, what do I want the Saints to do? What is my opinion on what the Saints should do? Be responsible with the cap or whatnot? Mickey Loomis is the type of dude that, since he's been doing it, he's done the kick the can down the road mentality. The only reason, I said this on Patreon live the other night, the only reason or the only way that the Saints will get from up under salary cap hell is the contracts that Mickey signed expire. Like we have the next 2 years, and I speak about the 2-year window all the time. That's Taysom Hill, that's Demario Davis, that's Cam Jordan, that's Tyrann Mathieu. That's some of your best players, and some of your bigger contracts, they go off the books. Well, most of it, they still have some voided years and all this kind of stuff attached to it. But when that happens, you'll get a radical amount of money. And then at that point, then you can start practicing correct cap management. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks is what I've been telling family members. So that would have to go with a different general manager approach in there. So when that flips, then you need to bring somebody in here to kind of walk it into the future and give that general manager a clean set of books to work with, and not a bunch of old cookbooks like the old mobsters used to do, like Jake Greasy Thumb Goosick, that type of crap. That old mobster used to cook the books for the for the mobsters back in the day, man, the dirty accountant, Jake Greasy Thumb Goosick. But that's what I'm addressing the people about cap management. So what I want to do right now, currently, you lock into who you can lock into. Now, almost 4.8 million. What it does do is it create enough space for, if the Saints are working behind the scenes to possibly do something with Alvin Kamara, could he be flexible on the timeline if they come in with a contract soon? Not saying this is the case, not saying that I'm hearing anything, just throwing out a thought here about that whole situation. Could that be a situation where they're working it? Because like I showed you with the Pete Werner contract, all they needed was 1.4 this year, and then they kicked a lot of it on an escalating deal into the future. 1.4 for him. So we'll see how it all goes, man. But the Saints freed up 4.8, or perhaps they could be looking at trying to address, they tried out a bunch of players. Maybe they want to sign a couple of players and bring them in here. But it's also a good idea to have extra cap money too, just in case something goes wrong. So let me see if we can see anything on with that. I'm trying to see if I can find where Juwan Johnson is. I don't know if they updated it that soon. Let's see. All right. I don't know if they did it that soon. 20. I don't think they did. Yeah. Well, yeah, they kicked it. Yeah, that is right here. 23-24. It just voids. So you got 4 voided years, prorated 1.8. And that's the signing bonus money they own at over the next 3 years of 1.8, 1.8, 1. So yeah, like I said, the bulk of the money comes off. They didn't update the contract here on over the cap. But the bottom line is, man, this is the philosophy of how Mickey Loomis do, when he does work his magic. And I'm, like I said, the only way out of this situation is simply put, in terms of the cap situation, is the contracts expire in 2 years. Then you reset the books because they're too deep in right now. So if you got to restructure and grab and get at your best players, then you get your Alvin Kamara, lock them in. Not everybody's going to be able to be in this philosophy because they're not going to kick the can, because they want to be able to have a cutoff point and do their best. I say that should be a good bridge from this side to the other when you say, okay, listen, we got to get, I'm going to get this to the next general manager, let him take over. But we got a guy that don't have any imagination. He don't think he's doing anything wrong. and we'll just have to wait and see how it goes, man. And if the Saints are going to figure that out. But yeah, this is bad cap management, but you're locked in. But you have to be at one point, you got to have a cutoff line where you switch from that philosophy, because the team is not operating like it did when it had its golden era. And when that's happening, you have to make adjustments. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again, because that era is dead, and you have to be able to adjust to the era that you're living in. You can't have this old dead ass mentalities, old dead ass philosophies and habits and expect to create a new character or a new mindset. Everything has to change, man. All of those stuff has to be challenged and thrown out. And that's where we fail at as an organization, because they're not changing anything at the top. You have people coming in and out of the organization at the bottom or in the mid levels. But when you get to the higher levels, these old people, they're not going anywhere. And they're not bringing in other people there to share power with them. All these other general managers are subordinates for Mickey Loomis as VP. And instead of giving up the GM job, which he should do, he then subcontracts the GM job out to several people, including Harley. And then next thing you know, Lauscher doesn't say anything about it. He doesn't care. So we'll see how this all works, man. It's a very interesting experiment. Just know where you heard it from first. All right. So anyway, man, let's keep it pushing, man. Shout out to you. Thank you. Hold on here. Let me get out my super chat out here to Chantel. Appreciate you on that. Big Q, are you betting big low on the Falcons game? Man, and that game's what, week 3? Is that week 3? Yeah. The Falcons game is week 3, I want to say, y'all. So we got what we got first. We got the Panthers, then we got the Cowboys, then we have the Falcons, and then we have the Chiefs, and then the Bucks. If I am correct in memory of my schedule, that's what it is. I'm going to say no right now, Chantel, on that, because I have to, because listen, it was a whole BS. It was some BS, because, me betting the Saints and thinking they had my back on that game, like they were going to represent and show up, and they just didn't they didn't do anything. That's why I really was pissed off too about Derek Carr. And that's another thing personally that I was pissed off about with Carr and Dennis Allen in that Atlanta game when he drew that pick 6. That was the game that I betted on, that I had to put that goddamn Falcon shirt on. And he's sitting up there congratulating people who picked 6 them to ultimately hand the game over to Atlanta. See, a lot of people, you don't do that. And I don't know if anybody told that dude that, but when you got to when you come on to somebody's team and you're there for the first year, find out who the hated rival is and don't issue them compliments. Tell that to him and his stupid ass coach, because they both did it. One of them did it in the first game. The second game, it was this other dumbass apologizing why he threw them other people on his own team under the bus. That was full view. So you got him congratulating interceptions that led to pick 6s that beat you, and this other clown at the end of the year last year apologizing to Arthur Smith for whatever bull. I don't care what you did. You don't issue no apologies to your rival. You don't do that. That's a surefire way to get people pissed off at you very quick. And you got to see people that you can't put that together. You come over here, you got to learn the culture. You got to learn who the rival is. You got to know who you go against them. You got to start, you know what I'm saying? You can't be issuing compliments and all this BS to your rivals. We don't want to hear that. And then I'm sitting up there with a Falcon shirt on the first one. Oh, it's week 4. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. Shout out to you, B Frank. I see you, fam. All right, appreciate y'all, fam. It's week 4. So yeah, Chantel, I'm gonna just be honest with you, probably not. I'm even if the Saints are doing some good stuff, let's say they win the next 4 or 5 games, I'm hardcore. That's not good enough for me. They have to be able to keep this up, and I'm talking about well into the season before I say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna probably end up betting, just to be honest with you. But thank you for your super chat. Much love.
Thank you. Fuck too kind.
Appreciate it, Chantel. All right, let's hit this one up, fam. This is another article right here for the fam, man. We're gonna go over this one. This one's from Sporting News here. It's labeled Spencer Rattler's rise forces Saints into silly decision on first depth chart, right? What do you mean by that, Mr. Chris rolling. All right, from Sporting News. And he's basically saying after a stunner of a summer, let me pause this here. After a stunner of a summer in preseason from rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler, Dennis Allen, and the New Orleans Saints went out of their way to prevent hype by not naming a backup quarterback. See, we got guys outside of the building now that's starting to pick up game. They're starting to pick up game, peeps. And that's what and this is a part of the game. Like, why? What was going on with that? Because this is the protection matrix. The decision hasn't saved starter Derek Carr from speculation aimed his way from the family members and media. Not after so summer, after his mostly so debut campaign with the team that resulted in a 9-8 record last year, but an almost desperate attempt to keep Rattler hype at a minimum before week 1. The Saints went out and did something silly on their first depth chart of the season. Behind Carr on the chart, the Saints actually wrote Jake Haener or Spencer Rattler, rather than putting one name ahead of the other in the second slot like most normal teams. It is an unorthodox approach, though, as Nick Underhill of New Orleans football pointed out. It's a continuation of Allen's theme after roster cuts about, quote, competition, end quote, all season long. Quote, they have to declare a backup quarterback for Sunday for headset purposes per league rule, right? The idea that players won't know who isn't real. I think they just want them both to compete and keep the intensity up by not making the declaration and leaving the door open, right? That's what it's saying. The depth chart decision is in a way coach speak personified on the chart. The idea might be to spur competition while both young players develop, but family members understand there's a measure of attempting to avoid the exploding hype of Rattler if he really is the number 2, or cause for concern or angst. If he's buried third on the depth chart, despite the depth chart silliness, the Saints will declare a backup for week 1 and will get overanalyzed either way. And again, if Carr struggles, it's not hard to figure out which quarterback on the depth chart behind him. Family members will be chanting at home games. See, this guy is right for Sport News. And let me just say this, man. What's up, Barbara? Shout out to Queen Barbara. What's up, Jack? How you doing, sir? Jerusalem, how you doing, sir? Appreciate you. Slim, I see you, my brother. Appreciate you. L-Dub, much love. Mick Swagger, how you doing? Pammy, what's up, Pammy? Y-O, can you too, you flat powers God. Shout out to you, fam. Listen, man, I kind of told y'all we talked about this before. Before any of this stuff happened, I warned y'all. And I said, listen, every year, put one in a chat. I've been saying that a lot lately. I know. Your one button probably not working too much. But I say put one in the chat, because when I be mentioning stuff, because I pay attention to history. And the thing is, the last couple of years, Dennis Allen has always had a silly move that he did that on the roster that was a very curious move. I laid out those before, so I won't bore you with that now. What's up, Hemisphere? And we've talked about this before. It's not it's this called the protection matrix. That's all this is. And people don't think of it as very much, but it really is something. This caused fractures in the locker room, not coming from Spencer Rattler, but it pokes holes, and that's all you need to do. It pokes holes in the idea that players are supposed to compete for spots on team. The way you do that is you do it in practice, then practice translate to the games. In preseason, going into the regular season, spots and orders are decided based on play, not only in practice, but how it translates in preseason. Now, follow me here. We all know in the Great Saint Think Tank that the way players get their starting spots, if it's an open starting spot, is by way of how they competed. If they out-competed the guy to the next of them for the position, then they will be named starter. Now, this is the case, obvious case, for Spencer Rattler. And he competed against Jake Haener. He outperformed Jake Haener in practice and in preseason. According to how the competing rules go for roster spots, This man should be the starting quarterback. I mean, not starting quarterback, Freudian slip, but he should be the top backup because he outperformed the other guy. The other guy didn't even have any touchdowns. This man had multiple touchdowns. He led drives. This other guy didn't. Both of them were dealing with dropsies and all that, but the offense flowed differently more in these preseason games than when you for Rattler than you did see with Haener. Now, Rattler outperformed Haener for the backup job. There should be none of this stupidness going on or who's going to be the quarterback. But as you can see, this is political. And when you start doing shit like this, it causes problems because that's how and why people do not like Dennis Allen. Because the bullshit that he say that's coming out of his possum mouth is a bunch of BS. How could you cannot justify Rattler not winning the backup job? If the depth chart comes out and the man is not listed as the backup and it's Jake Haener, that is some bullshit, man. Because that kid outperformed Haener. He outperformed him for the second spot. And if you operate in your team like that, you can understand why people do not like you because you are an effing hypocrite. There is no justification, but all this crap about putting who's going to be first on the depth chart when it just comes out, the man won the competition, and for you to say some bullshit that they're still competing, or isn't there anybody else competing for their job right now, still competing for their job in the spot? There is none of that going on. This is an obvious weak ass off code attempt by an off code ass coach who needs code to win. This is, and see, when you see crack, they don't talk, they're not going to talk like this to you guys. They're not going to tell you about what code is because this goes beyond football. This is a cover your ass type of man. This is the type of dude that'll throw his team under the bus to avoid just a little bit angst and opinions at him like he did last year. But he could have just took the charge. Hey, man, listen, it's on me. This is my team. We would have never heard about that. And it would have been a little weak story later on, months into the offseason when it was like, oh, yeah, it would have been a little cute story. But the way that was handled, this is an off-code person. This off-code person, this dude ain't about team concepts because he violates them the first goddamn chance he could to protect a player that he wants to protect. You see, you throw it on out, throw the competition, whatever you want to call it, them competing, they working their asses off, getting beat up on the field. The man outperforms the man, and you can't put the spot right there. You can't put him where he belongs. He earned the spot. He earned that. And that's what I said. I have a problem with that. I have a problem. And that's why people are like, why they don't like Dennis Allen? And these people saying that stupid question don't remember none of the F stuff that he does. Because this is the kind of foolishness where it causes problems with the team. And people are watching, even the teammates, them young teammates and the teammates know that Spencer Rattler won that job. Jake Haener, if he's honest, he know that Spencer won that goddamn job. He knows that Spencer won. If he's honest, he knows Spencer won the job and should be the backup quarterback. There should be none of this going on. But this is an attempt to protect Derek Carr, even if it means violating fundamental rules of how team is structured. He'll violate them to protect one dude and then sit up here and wonder why people don't like his ass or that guy. Come on, man. That's some BS. This kid, we'll see what's happening because we're going to know real soon. We're going to know who the guy is. But if that's the case, then you know it's going to be, because off code people do off code shit. They talk about being on code, but they don't stay on code. They could talk about accountability. They could talk about attention to detail. But when it's time to walk that walk, let's see what you do. Let's see how much of the code is in you, because it's more than just talking it. You can talk it all you want, but walking it is a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level. He gonna try to protect his boy, and you shouldn't do that, because that people see that looks hypocritical, and it washes away and start poking holes in how the team is when they notice, and it's obvious that you have an obvious biases for players to the point where you're doing stuff like that. It won't bode well for you, especially if your guy that you like and you pick starts to struggle. because it won't stop people from yelling from the seats. It won't stop them. You won't stop his progression. But man, you're not supposed to do that as a head coach, man. So I mean, this is off code shit by off code man, bro. What can I tell you, man? This is what it is. All right. So anyway, fam, let's keep it pushing, man. Let's go here. I'm gonna start off with put Clint Kubiak up here. Clint Kubiak's coming up next. We're gonna start the presser segment and see. And it's good to hear from him. I don't really want to hear from Dennis Allen. He ain't saying shit. So let's hear from the man with the plan himself, and perhaps we can get some game on what he's talking about today. Here we go. Pull in the chat if y'all can hear, fam.
I think they're really well coached. I think they, I know Coach Ejiro from working with him in Denver, have a lot of respect for him, and you can tell the way his players play and the way he teaches is spectacular. So they're very disciplined, very sound defense.
When you think of the way that they prevent their pass rush, bringing up Clowney,
yeah, we got a lot of respect for Clowney. I think 95 is an excellent player. They've made improvements to their roster just like we have. So, look forward to the competition this weekend.
Is that a good test for your offensive line right away?
Absolutely. Yeah. Excited to see our five play together. Put a lot of hard work in the off season, and now look forward to their reward, which is Sunday.
Quinn, how hard is it to find the time and the effort in a practice week to develop one young quarterback, much less two? How do you try to place the importance on that compared to getting ready for a game?
Yeah, limited reps, limited to none. It's very small. And I would give a ton of credit to Andrew Janoko. He's phenomenal teacher, phenomenal coach, gets there with them early, way before, the starter gets in the building, gets them out of practice early, gets them after practice, gets them between periods. And that's what best you can do is just, maximize the time before, after, and in between offensive team periods.
You've obviously worked for a lot of different organizations under a lot of different coaches. I mean, is it a situation thing to find someone who decides that's important?
Could you rephrase that a little?
Is it case by case basis when certain coaches or certain organizations believe it's important to dedicate kind of that time and resources to do it?
I do agree with that, and I know Coach Allen especially spends a lot of time with us as coaches and making sure that we have a plan for each player, and having a pre-practice plan, post-practice plan, meeting with them extra. That comes from the head coach and from Mickey Loomis. So, and that's something that's important to us as well. So I think it's we're all on the same page as how important it is to develop those guys.
And then in this situation, specifically with two young quarterbacks, how important is we have to name a backup quarterback versus we want to care about the competition and the development between these two guys?
Yeah, I think there would be that competition regardless, and I would leave those decisions up to DA, and we're going to work with them the exact same no matter which one we would name, because we have so much respect for both those young guys. They're going to be good players.
All right, so that's a Dennis Allen decision. We're going to leave that. That was pretty smooth by Clint Kubiak, how he threw that out there, because he let you know, hey, man, this ain't my call. He said, hey, man, we're going to leave that to Dennis Allen, which let y'all know, well, we knew all the time, but it's good to know Clint Kubiak was like, hey, man, we're going to keep them ready. But you see, that's Mike Triplett, man. Mike Triplett's there asking all the good questions again. But this is the thing. Now, we talking about the backup quarterback position, and the reporters are asking about it because the reporters know what time it is. They know what time it is. It's a very clear thing. The man wanted, obviously he wanted. But the thing is, I'm trying to let people know, at this point, like if you want to have a team that's all together, a team that's standing on one, they together in mind, spirit, everywhere else, in full unison. When you start seeing hypocritical motions in the team, like when you start seeing that type of stuff, like the guy busts his ass in practice in preseason, beats the other guy, then it's just the ridiculousness of it all, man. It wasn't a close competition. Now, this would work if it was a close competition. But I'm saying this is in season, starting off the first. I'm letting y'all know this is the first thing. As the season started, then you have that call and people know, hey man, that was the wrong call. How do you do it? We're gonna keep them competing. No, it was whatever. But still in all, an order has to be named. And it wasn't close for you to try to play it. You're trying to play it like it was close when it is not. It wasn't close. The backup quarterback competition wasn't close. But we're going to keep them competing. I want to see what both of them can do. You did that, and the other guy outshined the guy. The other guy didn't even throw a damn touchdown. He had one that was called away because of the holding, but regardless or not, it didn't happen. Both of them dealt with penalties, but outside of just the touchdowns, the field and how he operated there, he outperformed the man. Even in practices, he was keeping up with him. And Jake Haener did a lot of God bless him. He did a lot of off-field stuff during the season, working with Chucky to prove upon his game. He just didn't have a terrific preseason. He really didn't. Not to the type where Spencer was. Just call it. But he can't do that because to put Spencer, let's call it like it is, to put Spencer as the backup means that he's a play away from being a starter. Meaning that if Carr struggles, and odds are with a new system, there might be some struggling in that first month or so. You got Rattler behind him. People going to automatically call for him because they know, even though they pretend like we don't have no expectations, we don't listen to what's going on outside the building. Hell, that show you they full of crap. Because if you ain't care what was going on outside of the building, you'll name Spencer Rattler. We don't care what they believe. We don't care about expectations outside of the building, but you sure know about how they feel about Spencer Rattler. The people full of shit, man. Do you get what I'm saying? If they really didn't care about what you said, and we don't care about expectations, then why all of the pageantry, all the pageantry behind this? Just name them. And Clint, once again, remember this: Clint Kubiak put this decision on Dennis Allen. He said, that's the call by Dennis Allen. Listen.
We have to name a backup quarterback versus we want to care about, the competition and the development between these two guys.
Yeah, I think there would be that competition regardless. And I would leave those decisions up to DA. And we're going to work with them the exact same, no matter which one we would name, because we have so much respect for both those young guys. They're going to be good players.
Remember, it's a DA decision now.
I was saying that it was in your ear a lot while you're trying to call plays. What do you make of that experience?
The last preseason game, I wouldn't say that. I enjoy the banter back and forth with him. He's such a bright player. I really enjoy picking his brain, and he doesn't talk so much, to me at least. So it's good to get those moments with him on the sideline, and he really lights up when you start talking football. So that's a really fun part of his personality.
You said that you were never leaving the sideline again. Is that maybe an indication of what you're going to do Sunday?
Yeah, we'll see. Still talking about it with DA.
Sure.
We often hear you guys talk about things being vanilla. We say things vanilla. Like, how much you actually show during the preseason of your offense, and what do you decide? Like, how do you decide what to keep under wrap?
I think that's a discussion we have with our coaches. At the end of the day, we're trying to go evaluate players. So I don't think you give them massive game plans throughout the preseason because you're still competing every day against the defense, and you got maybe a day and a half to get ready for a preseason game. So yeah, you definitely don't want to maybe show your best stuff. And those are conversations that happen throughout the week, with DA and with our offensive coaching staff.
What are you looking forward to most week one, first game, in the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 17 sprint marathon. So we're just looking forward to coming out and practicing again in the red zone tomorrow and getting better. And if you don't have that mindset, you drive yourself crazy, so we just got to focus on getting better every day. And, that's an old cliche, but it's important. It is what it is. We got a lot of football ahead of us, and just take it one game at a time.
this might be an obvious question, but, Derek was talking about this yesterday. It feels like, you both trust each other in terms of, you're going to ask him to do something and he just is going to do it a certain way. And, how important is that level of trust with the quarterback in terms of the play caller offense?
Yeah, that's a really important part of the relationship, and he makes it really easy because of, just how good of a person he is, how hard he works, and, how detailed he is. So that part's been really seamless, and I've enjoyed working with him.
I feel like you've been able to take some things off his plate this summer, just how the games will go to make him more efficient.
Yeah, I want to keep loading his plate up because he can handle so much. So there's nothing that he can't handle, but it's a team game, and it's about what our team can handle. It's not just the quarterback. It's an offensive line, it's our tight ends, it's our running backs, receivers. So it's not just about him. It's about everybody, and he knows that. And so I'll always have the team in mind first.
I guess are there things that you can do to, just shift the priorities elsewhere? Like, you go on asking.
Yeah. I think it's always important that we narrow our players' focus, and that's something that we really strive for as coaches. And you're not going to go into one game with 700 play game plan. You got to pare it down and talk about what you're going to do, what you're going to focus on, so that the players can have a laser sharp focus on the certain looks they're going to get from these, number of plays.
How do you feel like Trevor Penning's progress throughout the offseason and where he's at on the field?
Yeah, I think he's, again, I've said this every time, and I mean it. Like he's doing everything we've asked him to do. He's a super coachable guy, and he's had some really good practices, and a lot can be said about where he started and where he's come from, and I'm really proud to get to coach Trevor and Rick Dennison and John Benton, and those guys have done a phenomenal job with him and with the whole offensive line. But he's earned the right to go out there and play really well on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to go and seeing what he does. But it's a 5-man show up there, and it's all 5 working together. It's not just him.
And Clint, do you believe in the load management as a play caller? Do you take that into consideration, say touches, injury history for certain players? I mean, is there a magic number you want to get to on carries and touches?
I think it's a good problem to have when you got to give plenty of guys touches, and I think we have that problem. So we got a lot of guys that are worthy of the ball. But as far as the game, yeah, to an extent, but we better go give our best players the ball early and often, and whoever has a hot hand, keep riding them.
Indeed, man. Young Clint Kubiak, man, the man with the plan, man, is brung here to basically help the Saints offense get on track. His contribution in terms of the offense will be very important. It's basically life or death for Dennis Allen, the offense, man. And listen, fam, I hear a lot of the criticisms that people are talking about in terms of the offensive line. To be honest with you, I don't know what kind of offensive line we have, what we're going to have. I really don't know. We've seen some positive stuff in the preseason when you've seen them running the ball. If we can do that, and I think probably the easiest part of the game in terms of learning the run aspect is to get the offensive line and get these guys running and make it make sense so they can be able to get into their offensive fluid. So we got to run the football, man. We really do. We got to run the football and take pressure off the quarterback. That's what it comes down to. But in terms of the passing game, the Clint Kubiak's message has been pretty consistent about speeding Derek Carr up, getting rid of the ball on time, and keeping the offense flowing a certain kind of way. That way it protects Derek Carr. We don't need Derek Carr getting confused and holding the ball for 5 seconds and staring down and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of practices happening. I know Clint Kubiak and Andrew Janoku, they do be, on Derek Carr, checking on, making sure he's progressing, going through his progressions, going through his reads, making sure he does what he's supposed to do. So we'll just have to wait and see how all that ferrets out. But like I said, I don't think we have one of the worst lines in the league. I just think that we have an offensive line right now with a lot of players on it that we don't really know how they're going to perform. We have hopes. We think Tali Fuaga would be okay, but he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. We know Trevor Penning has potential, but he's inexperienced. He's gonna have to go through Trevor Penning with all of his lumps and, his positive and negatives. We're going to have to ride with him on that. Lucas Patrick, we don't know what he's going to bring. We know he's a decent run blocking guy, but from the past perspective, I don't know. So Cesar Ruiz, he needs to step his game up. McCoy, everybody, this whole offensive line need to go up a level. We do know that they have they're athletic and can move in terms of that. So we'll see how it all looks in a couple of days. The Saints will begin the first week to iron out some of these wrinkles, and we'll see what Clint Kubiak's offense really looks like, because a lot of stuff they were running in the preseason was vanilla stuff to kind of throw people off to get to this point where they can then roll out bits and pieces of the offense. And then as the year moves on, they'll start laying out other layers of the offense like Clint Kubiak talked about, because it's a pretty complicated offense. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Now, speaking in here, we're going to go to this interview right here. This is Penning. And you heard some of the media questions. Two of the big questions they talked about was the backup QB position, stuff like that. And they talk about the backup QB position because how the Saints have handled it. The Saints have brought a light to it as they made it abnormal, and it's usually a pretty normal thing, right? Who somebody got to win the job. You go through the preseason, you name the guy. But since that happened like that, they have pinpointed to talk about it, because that's what the media do. They're going to pinpoint, say, I see that. They're going to pick at the abnormal things that's going on. But Trevor Penning is another point of contention, too, in the Who Dat Nation. Many people think Trevor Penning will do well in his third year here, and he's starting at the right tackle position. I think that's the right position for him. And here's his thoughts today. Here we go.
Going against him. Yeah. He's a big long dude. He's he's very athletic. He's the number one overall pick, in 2014. So he's a good player. Excited to go against him, and yeah.
Trevor, apologies if you already answered this, but where would you assess you are as opposed to where you were?
Yeah. Are you talking like last year or?
Well, moving the right tackle.
Yeah. I think I'm, up there, kind of where I was at left tackle, but even better. I think I've improved on a lot of different stuff. My knowledge of my football IQ, I think's improved a lot just by more time at doing it and being around a little longer. So. Yeah, it's going good, and yeah.
What was your review of how you played in the preseason games?
I think the first game I definitely didn't feel like myself. I feel like I was playing a little too hesitant, and can't do that. I think the second game I definitely improved. I think the last game I had a couple things in pass pro I need to clean up. I think our running game was pretty good, but I think I can keep improving on that and playing even better.
So when you go out and you have a game you weren't happy with in the first preseason game, was it a battle to make sure that didn't shake your confidence? I've worked for a long time, and then or was it not because you had built that confidence?
Yeah. I just watched it, didn't play how I liked, and I put my head back down and kept working and fixed the things I needed to fix, and just kept going.
Was that another example of how the amount of time they've given you, patience they've given you, and every rep and every prep has really paid off?
What do you mean by that?
Giving you so much opportunity to grow and develop this offseason.
Yeah.
And have every snap at that right tackle.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. I think getting the reps is very important, not only in practice but in games, because that's where that's where it's for real. You can't you try as hard as you can to mimic, game-like situations in practice, but, there's nothing like a game, and getting those reps is very important.
How about the five of you guys? Just where do you feel like you guys are from a chemistry standpoint?
Yeah, I think we're really solid. I think chemistry, we're pretty good. We're all kind of on the same page. We kind of, all, communicate well. We're all on the same page of, picking up, different blitzes, running the right plays, one of the right guys. So, I think we'll be ready to go this Sunday.
Trevor, did you kind of need the extra reps in the preseason? You went a little bit longer than most of the offensive line started.
Yeah, Yeah, I'd say so probably. It's always good to get reps. I think getting more experience could definitely help, and I think it definitely did.
Trevor, is it ever hard not to put too much pressure on yourself and not get down with the ups and downs and going to a new position and just keeping the right perspective?
I mean, I don't really think about that too much. I mean, I just come in here and I work, and I try to do my best. I do everything I can to make sure I'm doing everything I can to be the best player that I can be. Basically.
I guess a better question would be: is like, how do you not get frustrated with? Obviously, there's going to be growing pains when you're switching sides and going from left-handed to right-handed. How do you not get frustrated when things aren't perfect or necessarily going exactly?
Yeah, you can't really dwell on stuff that happened. I mean, everything. They always say like making a mistake. You just learn from your mistakes, basically. So, you get frustrated and all, but you just got to learn from it and make sure it never happens again, and just keep growing from it.
Where do you think you've made the most growth, either overall or even just from early August to early September?
I think my hands in pass pro have improved a lot. I think just using angles in my run game, my pass game, just being able to, use angles to my advantage to get the best possible leverage on a player. So just being able to figure that out and, being able to use that so I can use my power that I have and being able to, go.
Great snap at that right time.
All right, that's Trevor Penning, man, and Trevor Penning, man, is in the philosophy, fam. Like I said, I like him at the right tackle position, and he does sound like a rookie. If you listen to him and you listen to other young players, and he's been in the NFL for 3 years now. This is the start of his third year, but he's played like I think it's 6 games or something like that. Not a lot of games over the last couple of years. In the first year, they basically redshirted him. He didn't play until the final game of the first year, which was against Carolina. The next year, they brought him out as a left tackle. I was saying, don't do it. Don't put him at the tackle. They put him at the left tackle position. He failed miserably. They basically benched him, and they didn't go back to him. Now they kind of brought him back to the spotlight. So, okay, we're going to put you at the right tackle position. Less pressure, whatever. The issue is, with all this, and like I said, there's a lot of good and bad with Trevor Penning. But to be honest with you, fam, how he responded in that second preseason game was a clear, indicator for me, because the pressure was on, and everybody, the media, the Saints, evaluators, all those people were watching him. Everybody, they were watching Trevor Penning. They were watching him say, "Hey, man, this is going to be." Pardon me, family. Yeah, they were saying like, "Hey, man," they were watching him. And at the end of the day, man, the guy came out and he performed. He had a really solid game. It wasn't perfect, but with all of the pressure on him, this coaching staff was watching, because if he had failed in that game, then it would have been something. It would have been something. They were really going to go after him, and they would have made a move, and he would have, it would have been a different path right now than what you see. But he performed under pressure. He got there. He played very solidly after having that awful first preseason game. And since then, he's been consistently kind of doing his thing. He's not perfect, but he's been doing a good job in trying to, hone it on his craft. And like I said, John Benton is the new offensive line coach. He's been working with him. He's been saying positive things. We just played Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator. He's been saying a lot of positive things. He talked about Rick Dennison, who's working with Trevor Penning and offensive line, saying positive things about how he's doing everything he's asked him. JD asked him about, how did he improve, which is a good question. He talked about hand placement, stuff like that. So, like I said, I a lot of people are going to be looking at Trevor Penning, but hey, man, a first-round draft pick on a young offensive line. Well, I ain't gonna say young, but you got 2 inexperienced tackles. You got a left guard that's, has some NFL experience, but it's more of a run guard than a blocker. You got Cesar Ruiz coming off, a lackluster year in my opinion. McCoy, You know, these guys are going to have to bond together because we're counting on these guys. You know, we could talk about Derek Carr staying on time and going through his progressions, but none of that's going to make any difference if Penning and our offensive line don't open up holes. And let me tell you something, against Carolina, they're going to target Penning. They're going to target both of these guys. You know, because you see two inexperienced offensive tackles there, and you got Jadeveon Clowney over here, and you got Williams on the other side. Them guys licking their chops, saying, "Man, we got a rookie over here, we got an inexperienced guy over there with confidence issues. We gonna attack the piss out of them," and they will too. They will. So the best way, in my estimation, for the Saints to help their young offensive linemen is by running the football, which I believe that they are comfortable with doing. Trevor Penning loves to run the ball because it allows him to attack, not to be attacked. He puts his hands on the guys and drives them out. He does that really well. And you see some of the times he drives them out, then pancakes them. You know, so he loves doing that, and I love seeing him doing that. And if we can get him to the point where that confidence build, then you'll see him really start to flourish and step up. The same thing with Tali Fuaga. They talk about temperament, that they both are big guys with nasty dispositions. Well, you have Tali Fuaga out of there. You got to help these young guys by running the football. We're counting on the Saints offensive line. They must run the football to have success, and I think they can run it. They got a big test too, because that defensive end they got, that Brown, we had 100 tackles last year from that guy's going to be a problem. You know, they got Ashawn Robinson over there. He's another big force there. They got some plotting guys there. King Tut's over there. So they got guys that can move. And they also got guys like Clowney and Williams. Those guys can fly. So the Saints will, and Evero, that defensive coordinator, man, that guy's good at trying to find weak points to attack you with. So the Saints are going to have to put their hands on them with the running attack and grind out these people and get them on out the way. We're going to run at these guys horizontally. Let's get Elvin involved. Let's get Jamal Williams involved. Let's get Taysom involved. Let's run at these guys. Let's run at them using the running game, get the play action going, and let's get out of Carolina. I mean, let's get out of the dome with a 21-10 win over the Carolina Panthers. Probably be like 21-17 or maybe 17-10. I could see something like that. I don't know. I don't see a blowout yet because I need to see more of the offense, but depends on how much they pick up. I don't expect them to be fluent week one because we know it takes at least 3 weeks to a month before you really start knowing what you need to do before you can go to the next level in terms of your philosophy. So, like I said, man, I'm just looking at them, man, and I'm saying to myself, man, I really like Penning, but we'll see how it all goes, man, moving forward, to be honest with you, fam. Because I'm going to be honest, man, we should be able to knock off Carolina, but this is the NFL, and things go wrong sometimes. Sometimes people beat people they're not supposed to beat. Sometimes good teams lose the teams that ain't supposed to lose. We got to bring our A game, man. We at home opening up the season, man. That's a good energy right there. We need to take it home. All right, so let me hit the chat right quick before I get ready to bounce up out of this thing. If y'all got any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. If you're listening, please hit the like button. Please feel free to hit the notification bell. And if you're not a sub up. Big ups to you guys. Thank y'all for chilling with me. All right, Dr. Drew, how you doing? Dr. Drew says that boy guy going to have Penning on skates the whole game. I hope not, bro. No, but I'm saying, listen, we know Penning struggles in the passing game, man, but where he doesn't struggle is the running game. We know that he prefers that. He likes to run. So the Saints will have to craft it where, and I'm pretty sure Clint Kubiak's a smart guy, that he's going to try to get that running attack going so we can eat the clock, give our defense a chance to rest, and wear out their defense. If we out there running on them and pushing them down and doing what we need to do and dominating, I want to see what this looks like, like what we heard John Benton, our offensive line coach, was describing to us about what his philosophy is and how he wants to do it. Now, the Saints have big guys that can actually pull that off, but how well do they know it, man? We'll just have to wait and see. Julius says he's a decent run blocker and a terrible pass block. I think he's improved as a pass blocker, but his stuff is confidence based. You know what I mean? But like I said, it's a lot. it almost like when you, man, listen, bro, when I remember watching Penning when he first got here in practice and all that, his skills looked different. Like his skills were were better than what we're seeing now. It's almost a deterioration effect happened. That's due to the fact that you can see in Penning, he's not one of those people that can hide stuff. Like a person can be going through all kind of immense tests and trials, and you'll never see it on them. Like that'd be me. I was doing shows, man. Like, people, sick or something going on, and y'all would, and I would tell, and I'll come back later and tell y'all, you wouldn't even, you're like, man, yeah. Some people, they can wear it. There's some people you can see it all in their faces, and Penning's one of those guys. You can look at his face and see that, you can see that he knows everybody's watching him struggle. It's very uncomfortable. He's kind of uncomfortable with, he did a decent job of answering the questions, but you can see he's really kind of uncomfortable with the press because they're picking at that sore, so to speak, about his, picking apart his game, because he can't really defend himself right now in terms of what he's doing. So all he can do is talk about, hey, I'm doing this, and all that's fine. Just use that as material to get better. That's the difference. People going to say what they're going to say. It's up to you to not only prove, because you prove, if you know what you're doing and you're improving, you'll prove yourself right. And in the process, prove them wrong. That was it about. But you don't do it to prove them wrong. You prove it to make yourself better. And in the process, that's a default. You'll get that anyway. So Penning, if he keep doing what he's supposed to do, he'll get up there. But like, that's 6 games of NFL experience from a guy you picked up 3 years ago. He's in his 3rd year now. So it's really not a lot of experience. So it's almost like you got a freaking rookie there almost. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like he's going through a rookie year, and you could tell it's a lot of the energy is of like not a 3rd year lineman, but it's like a rookie guy, like the energy of a rookie guy, out there struggling with this, that, and the third, and confidence issues. You can't have that. You got to keep your confidence up, bro. And confidence comes from your ability to perform. It really does. That's what it comes down to. If you know what you're talking about, you will exude a air of confidence. You really would. And people can tell. They can listen to you, hey, man, this dude know what the hell he talking about. This guy know what he doing. This guy know, this lady, she knows her shit. She know, this type of stuff. When you did the homework or you put in work, people can see it. They can hear it. They can see it from you. And then that's just what this young offensive lineman got to do. He got to put in some more work and perform out there like he know that he could, keep his countenance high, and go out there and dominate to the best of his ability. And the point is, the Who Dat Nation is very agreeable. They won't bash and step on Trevor Penning as long as they see that man out there giving it a try. If he out there performing and doing what he got to do, and all this. Now he might get beat once or twice, but if he out there after he got beat, he out there, knocking this dude around, and people will recognize, say, yeah, he got beat one time, but he turned his game on, man. Yeah, that's what it is. You don't have to be perfect, but do your very best, and and live with it. We real agreeable. I will say that about most of the Who Dat Nation and the great same thing. Most of us, because we still have that contingent that will ride down on you just because they don't like you. And that's fair. I can't, say nothing negative about that. It's just what it is, right? All right. Space Ghost say he's about 2 bad games from being depression. Oh, bad. All right. He's too soft as Charmin. Okay. Thank you, bro. All right. Michael says, am I watching the Chiefs and Ravens game? It shows how much RT matters. Ravens already switched out their art. Okay. Thank you, bro, for that. All right. Student says best wishes to Penning. I know, man. I think Penning will be all right, though, fam. I don't think he'll be perfect, but I think Penning will be all right. I think Penning will be okay. I think the right tackle position is good for him. And he's not a big, slow, plodding offensive lineman. Penning's athletic and can move. He just needs to kind of refine his technique. That's what it comes down to. And the only way you can get there is you got to be out there in the game, in the moment, doing that over and over again before you say, okay, I got it. It takes some time, and we'll see. All right. All right, Slim says, Q, are you good with our safety room? I think it changes, bro. I'm not good with it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I do like the guys that we have. I just think that we need one more guy. And I think you're going to get that. We talked about that, right, Brother Slim, a few shows ago. And I talked about guys like Jalen Ford and DeMarco Jackson, those guys with DMP for Wednesday and today. We'll see what they look like Friday. But my thoughts is they're probably going to not play, especially Jalen Ford. They'll DMP him and then switch him out for you. I wouldn't be surprised if you see, because the Saints don't really need what we got. We got what, 6 linebackers on our unofficial active roster. We got Willie Gay, who's limited. We got Pete Werner, who had a shoulder issue, but he is good to go. We got DeMario, that's 3. And then the 4th linebacker is Anthony Orji. The truth of the matter is the Saints don't, and then, well, that's 4. Then you still have Jalen Ford and DeMarco Jackson. That's 6. The Saints don't need 6 linebackers. I mean, you play the modified nickel. One of the 3, DeMario is going to start, but either Pete Werner or Willie Gay, one of those guys are going to slide to the bench. So you got like a backup right there, and then you got Anthony Orji. What you need with another linebacker for? You see what I'm saying? And then Jalen Ford's hurt. He hadn't played the majority of the preseason. I don't even play any preseason games to my recollection, and missed most of the practices. So why is he on the active roster? So he's not. They're going to move him out of here, and they're going to open that spot up for another safety, in my opinion. We'll see if that's true when we get close to game time. That might be a call on Saturday, Slim. You know how they do. I promise you, brother. Watch. That's going to be a call on Saturday. Watch how it go. They'll switch him out for one of our safeties. It'll probably be the Jonathan Abram or Ugo Amadi. If they do that, I'm cool with them. I'm cool with the safety room like that, because I like Amadi because he can play the special teams. He can come in and play a little corner. If you need him to play safety, a ball, or Jonathan Abrams coming in and play special teams, you knock your block off. So I'm cool. Either one of those guys, I'm cool once they make the move. We'll see what they do with DeMarco Jackson. But like I said, I don't think DeMarco Jackson or Jalen Ford are going to make it to play in week 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if those spots then are filled by safeties or, a one safety. All right, 546Q, I got a good feeling Kubiak's going to do some great things with this offense. I think so too, bro. It all starts with the running attack. No matter how complex of offensive system you have, it all starts with running the ball. Or either you might have a situation where you have an extended run, where they throw the ball down the line of scrimmage to set up a screen or something like that. We've seen the Saints do that. I wouldn't be surprised if I see Clint Kubiak do that to spur the offense. But the great part about what we have here is we have so many diverse players. We got Alvin Kamara and you got the primary players that are like I call them mismatch nightmares. You got those guys, and then you have really good complement players to mismatch nightmares. Like you have Elvin, and then you have power back and Jamal Williams, who should do very well in this style of offense. He should do very well in this offense. We talking about Elvin Kamara and what he does. Man, Jamal Williams should do very well, because you don't have to pull Kamara out to put Jamal Williams in the game. You can slide Elvin into the slide, or slide him out on the boundary, and then you bring in Jamal Williams, and you basically, what you do is you force the defense to spread out so Jamal can hit him. So I mean, that's what I think that we was missing. Like, there was times where, man, you could have played this guy with this guy. You'll see Taysom Hill out there with Elvin Kamara. Might see 3 running back looks. You see Rashid Shaheed on the end around, up through one of the gaps, just for a touchdown run there. You can see a lot of stuff, but we have guys that are incredibly difficult to stop. So, as long as he operates through that, I think we'll be good. Mick says, Q, do you think Dalen Hawker will have an impact on the team? Yeah, eventually, bro. I think right now with the ankle situation, we'll see how bad it is. I don't think he gets going right away right now, because that kind of hampered his debate. He's doing really good in camp. And then, he had the ankle situation that kind of slowed him down. I don't know how bad that ankle is, but we'll see. But he's definitely a future prospect, because Jawan Johnson, they restructured Jawan Johnson's contract. But the future prospect of the team in terms of, you're looking at if Spencer is the future QB of the team and Dalen Hawker is his tight end, potentially, that's not a bad pairing, because, you got to have the safety blanket, and Dalen Hawker can block, he can catch. He fits the modern NFL tight end. And Foster Monroe in 2 years, he's part of that 2 club, less known anyway, Tyron and Cam. He also has 2 years before he's out of here as well. You can see the Saints moving Dallin Hawker up there, but I think eventually he'll have an impact in the future. But in terms of this season, he should have an impact on this year as well once he gets good. All right. Yeah, you're right. You got to get better at that, bro. All right. Oh, no problem, student. Much love, fam. All right, Michael, thank you, man. Said, what's good? Big Q football season has started. It officially has started, my friend. I am very excited about it. I am monitoring this game as too, looking at it. I also am monitoring my fantasy football. Shout out to the fantasy football family members that started that are, they decided, man, to join the Sports Coma Fantasy League. People's like, Q, you going to start the Sports Coma Fantasy? Like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And finally, I was able to put it together. And it was kind of on the, a few days before we got it going on. But I got it all together. We did the draft on, when was it, Family Labor Day? We had a Labor Day draft. It was pretty cool. We picked our players and teams right now. And let me see right now. Let me share the screen right now. Right now, this is what's going on in fantasy football world right now. You can see the TSC King Hoodats. That's my squad. They're up right now over the money team, as you can see. So big ups to the rest of the family members involved. And there you see the Dome of Silence Rapture right there against who is that? SV360. Cobras versus Devin C. Devin winning right now. Of course, we won't, we'll know all of this when the time comes, man. But the Sports Coma Fantasy League is in full effect, man. So shout out to the guys participating in that thing, man. It's not for any money. It's just for bragging rights. But Morgan, thank you. Appreciate you. Michael Morgan, thank you for your super chat. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. You're far too kind.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I enjoy fantasy football. I be doing so many things. I got to make a point to keep my rosters updated. All right. Student says, I would like to see Penning push down multiple defenders like he did in his. I know, see that? But that was all confidence driven. Like when you remember him coming into the team, it was the fights he was getting into camp and pushing guys. He was a little bit beyond the whistle. He had that intensity to him. And people were like, yes, because that's what the Saints offensive line were missing. They were missing some edge. And Tali Fuaga does have edge. Trevor Penning does have edge too, but it's all confidence driven. So you start seeing a lot of that arrive as he gets more used to getting his reps and everything. He started getting everything together. You should see a lot of that come back. We just hope it's under control where it don't create a penalty scenario that's against us. You know what I mean? Jack says Penning reminds me of a slot from Goonies. What's up, Carlton? How you doing, brother? Appreciate you, man. All right. Bronze Flat Power God says, boy, if Penning push a lineman down, the dome gonna go. Yeah. He did. He had one in what was that? Wasn't that the last game in the preseason game where he knocked that defensive lineman down and then pancaked him? Y'all remember that? He jumped on him. I was like, yeah, that's how you do it, man. That's how you do it, Penning. That's how you do it. Pin him down. All right, M. Dot says we need some pinning. That's right. Yeah, pinning pancakes. Yeah, you got to pin them. Penning's got to pin him. He got his name shares. He got to pin him down. That's what he got to do. He got to do it. What's up, Pelicans, Nola? All right. Yes. Yeah, this is a part of the game, man, that we all got to get used to, man, when we talk about stuff like this. It's all about the O-line, man. All right, so anyway, fam, with that being said, man, that's going to be the end of the stream, man. I appreciate y'all for chiming in, man. Like I said, please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Shout out to the Sports Coma Fantasy League, Money Team, SV360, Dome of Silence, Rapture, Cobras, Devin C, Who Dat Savages, the Block Beaters, Mr. Mad Styles, Paper Chasers, All Saints Day, Elite, Mob Babies, and Goodfellows, man. Shout out to all the family members in there, man. Like I said, man, we're going to be doing the fantasy wrap-up show along with our Wednesday streams, our Wednesday Saints Talk streams. We cover whatever happened on Wednesdays, man. We're going to talk about the Sports Coma Fantasy League, man, who doing their thing, so hopefully I can get me a win this week here. We're going to see. We're going to see how it all goes. All right. So anyway, I'm out of here, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all stopping by, man. Y'all have a wonderful rest of y'all night, man. And I'll be back on Friday to talk at you. Much love and who that too.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below.